Hey, what's up? It's always me, Johnny, and today we are gonna review the camera of this Mi 11, and it's gonna be like an in-depth review, but without further ado, just go to the video. So welcome back to the video, but before starting actually, I wanted to just say thanks to a dude that just wrote down in one of my videos, actually the latest on this Mi 11, and this is the comment, so they are actually a pretty important and useful information, and I will use this information also in this video, so thank you again. So without wasting any time, let's start to talk about the photo side on this phone, and actually I'm gonna divide the video as pretty much always in photo side and video side, of course, because on this phone they are really different. So I'm gonna talk about a little bit of the photo side and photo capabilities on this phone, but then I will talk about more about videos. So if you are interested on video only, just watch all the video and I will talk about more of that like later. But first of all, let's talk about the camera setup actually on this phone. And we have like 3 cameras and a flash LED, of course, that probably I've never used as a flash for the photos. But the cameras are, we have the main sensor. That is pretty much the best one of the 3. We are gonna see it why after. And we have a super wide angle lens. And of course, we have also a telemacro lens that is kinda useless, but we're gonna see why sometimes it is very interesting to use it. So this year Xiaomi just focused their attention on the main sensor, because this time if you are shooting with the main sensor, either if we have like good lights or maybe bad lights, anyway, in any case, you're probably gonna get like a very good image and some very decent results actually. Instead, talking about the super wide angle, we don't have like exceptional performance here. I mean, I've seen better, like I had the S21 Ultra and the super wide angle there was just another word. And actually you can get like cool photos with pretty much good light, but if you are gonna shoot like in low light or maybe poor light, you're not gonna get like exceptional results. And I noticed that there are some different white balance between the lenses, and I noticed like a small blue tint in the super wide angle. So if you have this phone and you want to shoot super wide, just keep in mind of that, because I have this issue. I don't know if it's fixable maybe with a software update, or maybe if you are maybe shooting in pro mode, I mean, you don't have this problem, of course. So the telemacro, it is indeed the worst of the 3 lenses, and it is not actually a tele lens, it is more of a macro lens, but you have like a 2x zoom on this lens. The results of the photos are not, I mean, exceptional also here. I mean, they are pretty standard. But if you are shooting in macro mode and maybe in super macro mode, the results are surprisingly very good. So if you are that type of guy that shoots in macro or maybe some macro around, I think it is very good. And actually, if you want to zoom in a photo, you better just shoot with the 108 megapixel camera and then crop it in post, because you're gonna get like better results than the 2x telezoom lens. So keep that in mind, of course. So other than these cameras, we have, of course, the front camera. That is a 20 megapixel one. And this one, it is decent too. I mean, if you're shooting in like pretty much good light with some sunny days, you're gonna get good results. But if you have like a slightly bad light or maybe poor light, the results are not gonna be that good. But of course, you're not gonna get also trash photos. And this one, in my opinion, it is not the best camera setup that you can find on a phone, because if you want to shoot in every angle with every camera lens, I mean, you have best solution instead of this, like the S21 Ultra, of course, or maybe you can go with Huawei that has pretty much the same camera as the S21 Ultra. But if you are looking for a good point and shoot, like maybe you don't want to choose what lens am I gonna use here or maybe there, you're not gonna switch between lenses, I think this one is a pretty good solution, and I think Xiaomi knows that. So I think they just focused on the main sensor for this reason, probably, who knows. But if you're shooting with the main sensor, I think the results are very, very good. So overall, the photo that I did with this phone came out like pretty good, and actually we have a good quality and good dynamic range in pretty much every situation. And of course, like most of the new phones, you have like different modes that you can use instead of maybe like the pro mode. And here, of course, we have the night mode, for example, that is working pretty good. We have the super moon mode that you can shoot like moon with some presets. It could be very useful sometimes if you want to shoot the moon. Of course, the pro mode, as I said before. And if you go actually in the pro mode, you can shoot also in RAW. And it is not actually a RAW file like you get on a mirrorless or maybe on a reflex, but it is a DNG file. So you have, of course, more information on the photo that you took, but I've noticed some noise in the shadows. So I prefer just use the normal mode to take photos. Maybe it's a software issue right here, and I think it can be like easily fixed in maybe next updates, who knows. Then for the photo side, I think it's pretty much it. I mean, I did not say anything about it, but if you want me to talk about more of this side, just let me know down in the comments. And of course, now the interesting part, like I said in my previous video, that I can leave it right here. The very interesting part is the video side, in my opinion, because I mean, I am more of a videographer guy, so I shoot more videos than photos, like I say every time. And in the video side, of course, we have the same situation on different lenses if we talk about like colors and dynamic range, if you compare it to the photo side, of course. So we have like the main sensor, there is the better one, the ultra wide, and then the telemacro. And of course, we still have that color difference between the sensors, but here the quality is, I think, very much higher than the photo mode. And actually, I've had for a long time the S21 Ultra. I've had, of course, the Exynos, as you can see on my videos on this channel. And so I think that wasn't the best one between the S21 Ultra, because the Snapdragon version, I still think that is the better one. But I compared these two, and actually the Mi 11 is the better one in the video side, because we have more quality and it is more consistent in different situations. And actually we have more stabilization on this phone than the S21 Ultra, for example. And probably that is for some software issue with the S21 Ultra. It's probably that, because the Snapdragon version doesn't have those problems. And also in the Samsung one, I had like some problem with the shadows, where I get some pretty much visible noise in the shadows. So it wasn't that good actually. So anyway, the best sensor, of course, is the main one, as I was saying before, and probably you will mostly use that, because also if you want to use like different modes and different effects that you have on this phone, they actually use only that sensor. And so you cannot use like, for example, a super steady mode on the ultra wide angle. So maybe if you want to use like HDR, slow motion, super steady effect and stuff like that, you are gonna use the main sensor, of course. So here you can record up to 8K. And as I showed before in that comment, we know that the 8K is actually native on only on the 24 FPS. If we shoot in 30 FPS, it's just gonna be a 6K file, just upscale to 8K, so not native. But anyway, I will recommend always to shoot at maximum of 4K 60 FPS, because you're gonna get, I think, in my opinion, the best results. And actually in 8K, you don't have stabilization. So that comes very handy pretty much anytime you shoot with the phone. And so with the 4K 60, you have a pretty good stabilization with the phone, because it is optical. So that is my recommendation. So shoot in 4K 60 FPS. And if you care, I can tell you also the bitrate of the different resolution. I will tell you only the 8K and 4K just for reference. And with 8K files, you're gonna get 120 megabit per second. And with a 4K 60 FPS, you're gonna get around 65 megabit per second. I think it is pretty good for a phone like this, and you're gonna see it in the actual footage, of course. So also this year, Xiaomi just decided to add some more effects to the camera app because last year we had the vlog mode that you can find, of course, in more option on the camera, and this year we have like cinema effects. They are pretty interesting, pretty cool to use, and the only thing is that you can use those effects only in 1080p at 30 fps. You cannot do any more of that. You cannot shoot in 4K and use those effects. This is not a very good thing, but actually if you're gonna use those effects directly with your camera up, it is probably gonna be for some socials, so the quality is gonna be good anyway. And actually another mode that will use only 1080p 30 fps, as I was saying before, is the steady mode and the steady mode pro. You are gonna shoot only in 1080p 30 fps, but you're gonna sacrifice some quality and some resolution for a stabilization that is comparable to a gimbal, because you're gonna see some footage and it is actually very, very stabilized. So I don't wanna make this video too long, and lastly, I'm gonna say that if you go in video pro mode, you just can find a very interesting mode that is actually the log mode. And if you are a videographer like me, you're gonna know that log is very useful for maybe professional users like me, or maybe some videographer or video maker. And log mode actually can give you more dynamic range on your videos, and of course the colors are gonna be more flat instead of more vivid, but this can give you the ability to modify and just color grade your footage better in post-production. So if you are like a colorist, or maybe you like doing color correction and color grading, the log mode is gonna be very, very useful. So unfortunately in log mode we cannot shoot in 4K 60 fps, but we can shoot in 4K 30 fps. It's not too bad. I mean, we can work on that, but if it was in 60 fps, of course it was a little bit better for anyone. But anyway, I think this was pretty much it. I probably missed some modes, some stuff that I'm not gonna use probably never. I just focused on the main stuff that I use like every day, and maybe some new stuff that Xiaomi added on this new phone. But if you want me to try something more on the camera side of this phone, just let me know down in the comments, of course, and I will do that. And actually, if you found this review like a little bit interesting and maybe, who knows, useful, just leave a like down below and a comment, of course. And if you haven't subscribed already, just consider subscribing, because it will help this channel grow, and it's very, very much appreciated. So as always, I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.